Hello. I get asked by many customers, how do I transfer your cine film to DVD or to computer file or whatever format, digital format that you require it in. And there's quite a long process involved in doing so. First of all, we need to transfer the reel. This is a 600-foot reel of Super 8. You can tell it's Super 8 by the fact there's smaller sprocket holes than what you would have in standard 8. So you load the machine. One of the machines I use is the Movie Stuff Retro Scan unit. I use this because it produces the highest quality. So first thing to do is load the actual film. Now, the scanner is very gentle on the film. It doesn't use a clutch to drag the film through. There's no claws. As you can see, there's no claws in here whatsoever. So it handles your film really gently and it doesn't damage the sprocket holes. So the great thing with that is if you have got a film that's got damaged sprockets, then it will go through this machine. So what we do, we have to load the reel. So we load the film. Sometimes never as straightforward as it looks. That's better. So that's the film loaded, and you make sure it's all nice and square. I've actually pre-focused the film, so we don't need to worry about focusing the film. Then what we do, we run it, we start it on the computer first, make sure it's set to Super 8, make sure the gain's turned off. So you do your checks, click on start, and that'll run through that. It's got a very bright light source coming through the machine. So it doesn't matter if you're working with this in daylight. It's also an LED light source. So there's no damage to the film. It won't burn the film, it won't damage the film. It is really good. You won't be able to see that, but it's a nice crisp image on the display here. It's only a small window for previewing the actual film, but it's enough to be able to see what the computer's doing, what the machine's doing. Also, this machine doesn't scan at the film rate. For example, standard 8 was shot at 16 frames a second, Super 8 is shot at 18 frames a second. This actual scanner will scan the film at either 10 frames a second or 15 frames a second. It's actually scanning this film at 15 frames a second, which is absolutely fine for Super 8 and for scanning in HD. So what we do now, we just check. I'm constantly checking the framing, checking the exposure, and checking various things on the scanner. So it is labour intensive. You can't walk away from the machine for too long a period. You have to keep an eye on it to make sure the framing isn't jumping and what have you. So there we go. We'll come back to stage 2 once this is scanned. So once this is scanned, then I'll show you what we do with stage 2. So there we go. Okay, now the film's coming to the end of this reel. As I said, it was a 600-foot reel, and it's coming to the end. We can actually see now, you can see by the counter, it says there's 432 feet, but it's actually scanned. So there's a few more feet for it to scan, and then we'll rewind the film, and we'll show you how we actually output this as a movie file for editing on the Mac. So we literally go into View and then Export, choose the album that we want to export or choose the files that we want to export. So we choose this one here. We have to do it reel by reel, so we're going to click on that, select PAL movie. You can output it as a HD file. This customer hasn't asked for it as a HD file, so we're just putting them as PAL movie files. As you can see here, PAL movie. Make sure they're set to 18 frames a second. 18. Make sure that's ticked. They're the two films to output. Click on export. The computer will now create 2 movie files of those films. We're now at stage 3 of a process for transferring your cine film to DVD or computer file format. This is where we import it into the Mac. I've already put it onto the hard drive of a Mac. We're using a program called Final Cut Pro 10, and it's a fantastic bit of software. I'd recommend it to everyone that does video editing. We drop it onto the timeline, and then we can make that look bigger by doing that. That's fine. And I've got 2 screens set up, so what we can do, we can check the focus, we can check exposure, and we can check all the different things that you need to check before you actually produce the master video. Now I can see there's a bit of noise. It's a bit grainy. You might not be able to see that, but it's a bit noisy in some aspects of the film. So what we do in that case, we drop a filtering called Neat Video, drop that onto the timeline, and then we're able to go up here, go into here, and we go into that particular effect. The computer loads it, and we create an auto profile, which it has done there. You can kind of see that, so we're happy with that. We accept that, and then click apply. And what that'll do, that creates a really high quality noise reduction, really. So you get a nice, clean, very crisp, a very clean output on the final DVD or computer file. And it's a great plugin. It's quite expensive, but it's a great plugin for that particular purpose. So then what we do, that's film 1. This customer had 2 particular films. We've checked that, drop the second film on, and basically do the same with that one. So we do check it. The computer, as you can see, it's rendering these files now, so it's rendering them to create the DVD, and then we put the chapter markers in for the DVD and then produce it. Now this could take several hours for a computer to render this. Again, I need to go through the film just to make sure there's no bad bits. They get cut out, so if you've got any areas of a film that are bad, they get cut out. This film's run through pretty nicely, so there's not really any grief with this. This will run through without any hassle whatsoever. So there we go. And then the final DVD is produced for the client, and everyone's happy. And that's pretty much the process for transferring your films to DVD or computer file. It's 3 processes. We transfer the film stage 1, we export the films as a movie file stage 2, and then they come over to the Mac where they're edited and bad bits are cut out, where we then produce the DVD. So I'm hoping now you can see why transferring cine film can get quite costly and what the process is. So you can see it's quite a labour intensive and quite an involved process. Thanks very much for watching this video, and I hope it has helped you understand a little bit more about how we transfer your cine films. Thanks very much.